What's up, guys? It's been a really long time, especially since I'd sat down and talked to you. I posted that little tour recap from uh, earlier this fall, but that doesn't really count because I literally didn't talk in it. I just threw together some clips that I took while we were on our run, and yeah, it's been a really long year, and I know I'd take little like month breaks here and there, but my mega absence from doing any vlogs or anything happened for quite a handful of reasons that we're going to talk about. None of this is easy. Matter of fact, this is probably one of the worst years I've had in a while. Did some cool stuff, though, that we'll get to after all the more serious, sad stuff. Not that the cool stuff isn't serious, but you want to end on a good note, right? So, not a whole lot of people knew, but I was in a relationship starting towards the end of last year that bled into the spring of this year. I'm not going to name names or anything. I'm just going to talk about the situation because 2023, we are going into it with a better outlook, or at least attempting to, and setting better boundaries and standards for myself and others around me. To set some backstory, the person I was in a relationship with was in the process of a divorce with 2 children. I know what y'all are thinking, like, why would I want to be involved with someone with kids? Because, like, I'm pretty vehemently, like, against the idea of having kids of my own or someone else's for that matter. But with the abuse that was going on towards my now ex and her children, I really felt for those 2 kids, and I was ready to step up, you know? Like, I finally had a change of heart and was like, all right, like, I can take this seriously. We can throw in that my job at the time was also not that good, so the stress from that and the drama at work started to pile up, and my ex, any free time she got, she would rather go out bar hopping with some of my old coworkers than ever spend time with me. And our time obviously was very limited, like what free time we got. And my breaking point was I had a show in Cincinnati, and she got mad at me because I was barely able to respond to my texts. I couldn't call and talk because I was in the middle of loading in for a show. And she knew that I had this show, so it was really frustrating to deal with that. And I was like, yo, like, you have all these other opportunities that, like, we could spend together, and you just bail out on me. Like, literally, one of our old coworkers that she would hang out with instead of spending time with me literally, like, threatened physical harm to me because I didn't give her a ride back to her apartment one day on my way home, which I didn't even know. Had she asked, I probably would have been nice, but now I'm just like... So... there were red flags that I was, like, trying to, like, ignore, and in hindsight, I should have just bailed sooner. You know, I understand that not everyone's always going to have the same worldviews or views in general, but this person, at one point said, we're going to have a civil war and the liberals are the ones that are going to die first. And she knows for a fact I didn't vote for old shitbag. So I held my tongue at the time, but I was like, you gonna shoot me then? Like, you gonna axe me then? Because I didn't vote for your fucking Cheeto dust looking weirdo. And secondly, she would vehemently try to argue that COVID was liberal hippie propaganda. I've had friends and family either die or be affected by this virus. Matter of fact, to fast forward the story after I dumped her, I did the dumping, by the way. I got to the point where I was like, I'm just going to match the energy that's going here because I'm stretched too thin. Whatever. But after the fact that we broke up, I myself got COVID. And my mom got COVID from me. I'm vaccinated. She's not. She's 70 something years old. Thank God I got the vaccine because while I got hit pretty hard by it, she didn't get it as bad. And I get a message from my ex saying, "Hey, I heard you and your mom have COVID. Like, I hope you guys are doing okay." And I'm like, why? You don't even believe this thing's real. Like, with the most disrespect possible, go fuck yourself. COVID came and went, and I got back to work finally, which I started a new job earlier this year, which I've already been promoted before the year's up, and I'm making like $4 or $5 more essentially than I was at my old job. Way less stress. But a while later, I ended up with a thing called Bell's palsy. Long story short, this half of my face, it didn't hurt, and I could feel like when I poked it, but I couldn't move it. And so for about 2.5 weeks, I looked like a dollar store Two-Face from Batman. And that shit was embarrassing, especially since I work in retail. It got to the point I started wearing a mask to work again because at this point, like, I wanted people to be asking, why are you still wearing a mask, as opposed to what the hell's wrong with your face, you know? That all turned into a bunch of other side effects from COVID, like the fatigue that hit me. I used to be able to come home from work and get a whole bunch of stuff done, and for the first couple months there, I'd go to work, I'd come home, hang out with my dog for a little bit, eat some food, and then I'd literally lay down. I wouldn't sleep or anything, I wouldn't do anything, I'd just lay here and stare at my phone, because that's all I had energy to do. Just last month, even, I got hit with the flu pretty bad. I haven't been that sick since I got COVID, and that also sucked. I was out of work for a couple days again. And, you know, this year is the sickest I've been overall in like a decade, because I normally don't get sick. I get like your usual spring, fall allergies and sinus issues and stuff, but like this year tried to kill me. If any of you already know me, you already know that I struggle heavily with depression and mental health, and sometimes it kind of teeters towards the side of things, but I guess it scared me so bad at points because it was something that was out of my control. It wasn't a depressive episode or something I was dealing with. It was, hey, your body is literally shutting down here and there. Like, I turn 30 next month. I'm not, you know, the high school, college kid that I was anymore. I know some people are watching are like, oh, Mike, like 30 is not that old, but like it is to me, like especially after the year I've had. There are some things that I don't know if I'm ever going to fully physically recover from with all the illness I've had this year, and it sucks. But we're working with it, you know? And you know, like throughout those times it really made me take a step back and understand that there are boundaries that I need to start setting, because I'm not getting any younger. In fact, I'm, you know, kind of entering a midlife crisis almost. And it's really made me start to pick and choose who I'm around, who I associate with, and the kind of energy that I invest into them. But we don't need to get into that story, because that's just a whole other can of worms we can deal with down the road. Y'all want to hear some good news that happened? Like, first off, Keiko turned 2. That big old turd is my best friend and the sole reason I'm sitting here making this video for y'all. If I hadn't gotten Keiko when I did, I don't know if I'd be here right now. Her gotcha day comes up in February, and I'm very excited, but she has been such a good dog and a great companion, and I'm very thankful for her. The other cool stuff that I'm sure you're all wondering about, especially with the tour recap I posted, band stuff. Holy poop balls. We had an incredible year, and I was just sitting down talking with Jordan the other night about it, and I'm like, we really did a lot more than I thought we did. Obviously, I had to take time off because we were figuring out, you know, new record stuff, the lineup changed and everything. But you know what? We really pulled through this year, played some really cool shows. Especially shout out to the boys in Distinguisher, Cell, Darkroom, Human Law, freaking Moral Code. See, the memory of a goldfish is what's getting me. Samara. Speaking of Samara, we put out a split with them. We've been sitting on one of these songs for a while now called Nautilus. And we literally got together. It was one of the first kind of songs we wrote as a collective unit together because we wanted to start sitting down jamming out ideas. And then we put out a Rammstein cover. I've been pushing for this since the band started, and it's so cool that we were able to do a cover that good. I've actually had some people from Germany messaging the band page for like, oh, like, it sounds so good, your pronunciation's good. And I'm like, thanks. We literally took 2 hours to make sure that I did it right. But Plague Aesthetic, go check it out. Go check out Samara's songs. Like, literally getting to go on tour with them and listen to those new songs as well as their other songs. Like, every night live was so much fun. Tour itself was pretty cool. It was definitely a bit of a challenge. Jordan joked when he came to pick me up. He's like, you know, like, everyone else in Samara, as well as Ritual Eulogy, has toured with some sort of project at some point. This is your first tour. What if we get done with this and you just hate it? There were points that I was a little bit tired and I don't want to say hate tour, but I wasn't a fan of it at points. Just because, like I said, I get worn out super easily, so there are points where I wished I could have just gone off in a corner by myself and just took a nap in silence, but that wasn't an option. Needless to say, it was tons of fun. I had a great time getting closer to the dudes in Samara, as well as spending more time with my own bandmates, especially Gage, because like Gage and we haven't really had much time to like actually hang out. So getting to hang out with him and just clown around on tour was great. Gage, baby, I love you. So apart from that split, we dropped the new EP. Here's a poster for it. We dropped the new EP called The Dream Is Dead. Recorded it with Kevin John Rutherford II and his dog, Kevin John Rutherford III. I'm super proud of this record because Paul kind of took the reins on things and Jordan even took the reins on things, and we cranked out some really cool songs. And also shout out to Vlade from Delay Gratification Records. He helped us put together this really cool little tape. Yeah, so the band stuff was cool. We've got a lot in the works for next year. New music, shows, a bunch of other cool stuff that I can't talk about right now because nothing's solidified, but things are happening. The wheels are turning. Yeah, so, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to talk about why I've been gone so long and everything that's happened to me this year, because it, for y'all that have subscribed for a while, like, you know, like, this used to be my go-to therapy, and with everything going on, like, collecting hasn't really done it for me, playing video games hasn't. Sometimes the band stuff stresses me out, but at the end of the day, like, I'm here, I'm with my dogs, especially my Ham, my Loaf, and, what's more important is I have the right people supporting my music, the channel, just whatever I'm doing, and, yeah. Take this as a sign to go into next year, learn from your mistakes from this year and things that happened, do better for yourself, treat yourself with a little more kindness, and thanks for hanging out.